The reason you were put on earth was to do good things. I think this is a pretty amazing thing. But some of you know the story. Anybody ever heard Adam and Eve?
Oh, yeah.
You know the story. I'm not going to go into that tonight. God gave them some commands. You can do all this stuff, just don't do this one thing. And they did that one thing, and something called sin entered the world. And it took hold of mankind, and we talked about that actually a few months ago, and I used that illustration from Spider-Man 3, even though it was an awful movie. It had like a kind of a good illustration when that black thing kind of took hold of Spider-Man. It changed who he was, it changed his attitudes, it changed his heart on things. And that changed man, and so now man does a lot of bad things. Things he wasn't created for. He was created to do good things, but sometimes we do bad things because of the fall or because of sin entering the world. So, so what this series is about, S.H.A.P.E, is we're trying to figure out who God has created us to be with 5 different steps we're going through. The first one was S, right? Anybody remember what S stood for? Spiritual gifts. So the first week we talked about what our spiritual gifts are, and if there are some of you here that really want to get caught up to speed, see me after, and I've got some stuff I can give you that can help you get caught up, and you can check out all of our sessions live. Shauna back there is recording us, and we put all of the, actually they're not live, but they're recorded live and put on YouTube. So throughout the week, if you're like, man, I miss hearing Pastor Jeremy speak, I just got to go to YouTube, and you can watch, you can listen, you know, get the replay. It's pretty cool stuff. So anyways, so it will be online. All the old ones are online. Anyway, so the first week was S. The second letter in our acronym, whatever they call this, is H. Anybody remember what H stood for? Heart. Heart. What was another word for heart? Passion. And that week we talked about the things that God has made you passionate about. And we all found that there's a bunch of, that we all have a heart in this room. And we're all passionate about something. But for all of us, it was our passions were a little bit different. The things that we wanted to do with our lives. Okay, the A then, the third letter was for, that was what we talked about 2 weeks ago. Before we took 1 week off last week. Anybody know what A stood for? Abilities. What are some of the natural abilities that God has given us to do? That's some of the practical things that we do. So fourth letters tonight. Next week will be the last letter. Tonight is the letter P. So tonight's Lighthouse is brought to you by the letter P. I know. You know what? I watched... no, I don't remember where I was. I saw like a few clips of like Sesame Street somewhere.
Yeah.
Was it?
Applebee's.
No, it's different.
I don't think so. I don't think it was some. I don't know where
Saturday
was
morning.
it. Where? Oh yeah, we went to yeah. There was some of the young moms in the church get together, and I had to go meet with them. There was something they're wanting to do, a ministry they're wanting to start, and I had to be a part of it. Anyway, yeah, there's just crawling with all these kids, which you know I really like kids. But young kids are not my passion. I would much rather hang out with you guys. I'd rather have some intelligent conversation, maybe play a little basketball. What's that? Yeah, absolutely. I'll take teenagers any day of the week before the ones that are, you know, pooping and peeing and watching Sesame Street. But, you know, well, in their pants. I mean, I know we all do that, but, you know, I don't want to have to take care of it. We'll put it that way. That's one of the things I love about you is you don't make me clean those things up. It's really good. So, so I appreciate you all very much. Anyway, so we're watching a few clips of, and like, Sesame Street's like gone all digital now. It's like almost cartoonish and stuff. Yeah, it used to be like puppets, like real puppets or something. I don't know what the deal is. Well, maybe it is, but it looked like mostly cartoon to me.
Yeah.
I was just not a fan. I was like, man, they took away the puppets. That was, anyway.
I mean, come on.
That wasn't even, yeah, I know. You know, and I could be wrong. I only watched it for like 2 seconds and I zoned out because, you know, that's not on my level. I'd rather watch big green cartoons smashing buildings and beating up demigods or whatever.
No, it's Loki.
Loki. Alright, sweet. Anyways, we're going to get way off track here. I plan not to talk for too long because I want us to take this test tonight. I think it's going to be really fun. So let me just go briefly into. Tonight, the letter is P. The word is personality. I want to talk a little bit about your personality. There are a few of you in here that said you have taken a personality test before. Basically, what a personality is it's the qualities a person has, the visible aspects of one's character as experienced by others. So, basically, somebody could be, well, let's see, if I say this. There's someone in this room who has a very expressive personality, very loud, laughs at almost everything. When she enters, or he or she, I don't want to say it might be a guy. When this person enters the room, everybody knows it because it's a really, anybody guess who that might be? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Tori can be sometimes, Maybe, someone maybe takes the cake. Somebody that's excessively laughing. Okay, now here's here's another way somebody might be, and maybe a few people in here. Maybe there's someone that when they laugh or when they think something's funny, they're really not very loud about it. Like they might just kind of smirk a little bit. And like for them, if they smirk a little bit, that's like for them, that's like all out gut busting laughing. But that's just the best they do. If you get them to smile, they think it's really funny. Anybody who thinks that, this might be. It's crazy. Yeah. Anyone I'm thinking of that just anybody have an idea?
Lexi. Daniel.
Who said it? Did you say you painted my laugh? It's Peyton. Peyton might laugh, but usually when Peyton thinks something's funny, it's usually just a big smile, not really just, all out there. Okay, then there's some other people that like, let's see, what would be another one? Really good one. This might not quite go under personality, but like when they see an opportunity to do something really difficult, like jump over something or climb, if they see an adventure or a challenge, or maybe to climb something, they're just like a big smile on their face and they're all over it. Anybody think they might know? Nathan likes a little bit of adventure. He wants to do things very unconventionally. And all those things are little bits and pieces of our personality. How the things about us that the other people see, how other people experience us. Okay. What's that? Any chance to break oneself. However, you two have gotten very, you went to that stage in life where you were breaking everything. Every week you came was a new injury, but then you kind of got over that for the most part, man. For the most part. There haven't been any major breaks, a few things here and there. But.
He hasn't broken.
Until he comes to school.
Yeah? You're going to break something?
We can break stuff.
Okay, alright, I believe it. Okay, a couple things I want to say here before we take our test. God gave us a unique personality, and we need to accept and appreciate who we are, not tear ourselves down. I want you guys to get this. This is probably the biggest point I'm going to make tonight. I'm kind of making the main point real early here. We all have a unique personality. In a few minutes we're going to take a test. We're going to find out some of that uniqueness. But it is very important that we accept and appreciate and show God gratitude for who He made us, not tear ourselves down. Because get this, when you insult who you are, when you say things like, I hate myself, I'm such a loser, I'm so stupid, when you say things like that, it's not just yourself you're insulting, you're actually giving a bigger insult to God, because He's the one that made you. And just get a picture of this, like, how many of you like art? How many of you, will draw things, make things, If you've ever made something, have you ever had, once you've drawn it, or maybe you like to write things like poetry, maybe you like to write books, maybe you like to play sports. Have you ever heard somebody say, about your, maybe it's something you drew or some art you made, yeah, whatever you call that stuff, I'm not. And would say, oh, that's ugly, or that's stupid. Maybe they didn't know like it was yours and you were standing right there. That's not very good. Or they just like, or maybe it was like maybe how you played one night. Everybody say, oh, yeah, he sucked tonight. He's not very good. He should be on the JV. Why are they letting him play varsity? Ever heard that? And maybe like they never know. And does that, when it's something you've done, especially something you love and enjoy, does that not hurt? I mean, they insulted your art or whatever, or your sports or whatever, but really, it felt like an insult to you, didn't it? Because you made it, right? And that's the way God feels about us. He made us all unique. Now, the world, yeah, I cut this out. The world has a certain system that we live in of assigning value to things. Okay? The world around you, everyone around you, most of the people around you have a certain way of assigning value to things. And they give high marks of value to maybe people that are really attractive. Have you noticed that? Somebody that can have an awful personality, I mean just like annoying, snooty, whatever. All the guys like her just because she's attractive? I mean, you've never seen that, right? I mean, I'm sure in your school it's all of the kind and and friendly girls that are really popular, right? But looks mean nothing, right? Right? Never, right? Or the ones that draw a crowd, and maybe for those that are athletic, your team will draw a better crowd. More people get excited, or more girls will be interested in the guys that are really good at a sport, like really athletic. See, the world's no, I know. No, your school, no, fans aren't like that at all. Or maybe it's the really rich, or those that can act. See, the world has a way of assigning certain value to a person. But, in God's eyes, we all have the same value. However, God's system is different than the world's system. We all have the same value in God's eyes, but God will give more blessing to those who follow His commands, those who are kind, those who are generous with others, those who care about others. Those are the things that matter to God. And He says eventually those people will receive the most rewards in His eyes. It's not the talent ability. The world's system is different than God's system. So if you find yourself walking through life and the world's system of value has only got you at about a 3, like maybe for some of us, maybe the way the world looks at us and they rate us, looks for, so-and-so, I won't pick on anyone. We'll just, Jim Bob, we'll just make up a name, Jim Bob. Maybe Jim Bob, he walks into school and he maybe comes in, they're pretty generous with him, they give him a 4. At school, so there's a couple girls that are interested, but most of them, they don't give him the time of day. And, he grew up on a farm, so his English and some of the way he pronounces things, like manure or something like that, he pronounces things kind of funny because, we won't go there, but, even his overall, his social skills just really aren't that good, so that he's dropped him already down to a 2. And then his athletic ability. Well, let's just say in gym class, he's the first one out in dodgeball. We'll just put it that way. You can interpret that any way you want. So he's already down, pushing maybe 2.5 at best. And so by the end of the day, he's coming out of there with, averaging somewhere between 2, 3, 4 at the highest. And then of course, we've got little Miss, what should we call her? Barbie. who all the guys give her, at least a 12 out of 10, looks wise. And she actually plays volleyball, and she's really good, and she starts. So 10, she's coming out of school with 10 plus, and a little Jim Bob. But you know what? On God's scale, Jim Bob might go home feeling pretty crummy. Because the world system has him only at a 2 or 3, and has, what do they call her, Barbie? At a 10 or plus. He might feel pretty bad about himself, but the real question is, where's Jim Bob ranking on God's scale?
Next to Barbie.
Next to Barbie.
Right there.
What's that?
Next to Barbie.
Next to Barbie. Exactly. But this is what I'm trying to get to. I'm totally ad-libbing this right now. It's okay, because this kind of just comes to my mind. Every once in a while, it's a good idea. But here's the deal. I don't want to judge anyone, but you know what? Maybe Barbie, she maybe goes to church, but she really doesn't care about having a real relationship with God. It's more for show, because actually the popular people in her school actually go to church. I don't know if that's your school, if that's how your school is. What's up? Dude, you're tall. This must be Eric. Nice to meet you. I'm Jeremy. And you're from Germany, right? All right, sweet.
Jeremy.
And Zach, how's it going? Sweet. So anyway, I'm not going to judge anyone and put Barbie down, but maybe she really doesn't care about actually having a relationship with God. Well, she might stand or raise her hands in church, but it's just because she wants to impress the parents, or she knows that, that's what her friends do, so she does it because it's cool. But maybe Jim Bob, maybe he actually has a real relationship with the Lord. Maybe he truly is seeking God, wanting to know Him. And maybe Jim Bob knows that God has given him some gift to work with elderly people already at a young age. He knows that. And so he's volunteering time, maybe down at the hospital or maybe at a retirement home, using his gifts. And maybe a Barbie comes from this wealthy family. And she may give a little bit of her money to church on a Sunday. But Jim Bob, maybe he comes from a poor family. But he makes it a point, anytime he gets money, he takes a portion of that aside to give to those who have much less than he has. See, being in America, even though he's one of the poor Americans, he has a lot more than a lot of other people. And he's always doing that. So, I'm not going to say where each one sits, but God has a different scale, a different system of assigning value. And God might look at those two, and on the outside, one may be incredibly valuable in the world's eyes, but on God's scale, just isn't measuring up. Whereas Jim Bob, in the world's eyes, ranks very low, but God sees in his heart, he has incredible passion, incredible love for God, incredible love for other people. Now, I totally, randomly, just went there and just kind of ad-libbed that. I hope that made a little bit of sense. Your personality is a gift from God to you. There's none better. There's no single personality. Even though, like I said, the world might assign this personality is better than another one, this one's more popular than another one. There is no personality that is better or worse for loving, serving, and ministering to others. So I don't know where you guys sat in the popularity scale of your school. I mean, if I was like, you know, if the average student was like me, you guys would have been at the top of the list, because I think you're three of the coolest people I know, along with the rest of the people in here. But, you know, we would hang out all the time and be friends. But I don't know where you sat in there. But no, regardless of what other people think of you, all of your personalities, even though they're very different, and we know that, not any one of you is more capable or less capable than any of you three or anyone else for loving, serving, and ministering to other people. All of us are completely equipped and gifted to love others, to serve others, and share God with them. Even though we feel like we're not sometimes. We're all capable of it. And that's one of the most important reasons that we're going through this, is so that we can find out, how has God gifted me? So how can I love other people, serve other people, and show them God's love more with what He's given me? We honor God when we joyfully, not grudgingly, not just like, well, fine, if this is who I am, if this is what God's made me, I wish I was a faster runner, I wish I could tell jokes better, I wish more people liked me, but fine, if this is it, God, I'll do what you want. We honor God when we joyfully accept who we are, embrace ourselves, and give ourselves a big hug, and use those gifts to accomplish His purposes for our life. Okay, all right, let's go to this. The first column, I believe, was lion, right?
Yeah.
Lions like to lead. They like to be people that are in charge. Lions are good at making decisions and very goal-oriented. They enjoy challenges, difficult assignments, and opportunity for advancement. Because lions are thinking of the goal, they can step on people to get to those goals, to reach them. Lions can be very aggressive and competitive. Lions must learn not to be too bossy or to take charge in other people's affairs. Anybody know somebody that's maybe a little too bossy for their own good? No, not at all. Anna doesn't know anyone like that. Okay. Did I peg you as a lion?
Yeah.
Oh, bam! All right, sweet. Okay. For an example from the Bible, if you want to take this home, somebody that is like a lion in the Bible would be Paul. He's and they're in Acts 9. You can read that story. Okay. Otters. No, what was the second column? Beavers? We'll drop down here. Beavers. Beavers. Little beavers. Beavers are very... Beavers. Beavers are very organized. Beavers think that their way is the right way to do everything, and they want to do it exactly that way, and they may even try to get you to do it that way. Maybe. Beaver personalities, however, are very creative. They desire to solve everything. Ever been with somebody that, like, maybe you're trying to think of a person's name from a movie. You know, an actor that was in a movie. Oh, what's that person's name? Some people you might think about for 2 minutes, like, oh, I can't remember. But there are some people that, like, cannot think or focus on anything else until they figure out what it is. That person not necessarily, but might be fall into the category of a beaver. They always need to get the facts straight. They want to know, okay? Beaver personality is very creative, desire to solve everything. They desire to take their time and do things right. They'd rather work slow and do it well than fast and not very good. Or not very well, sorry, bad English. Beavers do not like sudden changes. They need reassurance. Okay? And that's one thing about a beaver personality is like they want to do everything the right way, but they need to hear you give them compliments. Hey, you did a great job, because they're perfectionists. They want to know they did a good job. Okay. What was the third one? Otter? Our friendly, fun-loving otters. Otters are very social creatures. Any of you ever been at home like alone? You can't stand being home alone. Like an hour is way too long. It's like you need to be around people. Your personality may fall under the category a little bit of an otter. They're very social creatures. Other personalities, otter personalities just love people. They enjoy being popular and influencing and motivating others. Otters can sometimes be hurt when people do not like them. I know there's some people, if you don't like them, they'll be like, I don't like you either. But an otter might take this really personal and go into depression for a few days, knowing that there's one person in the world that does not like them. That's just, how it is. Otter personalities usually have lots of friends, but not deep relationships. Not always, but it may can be the case. A lot of friends, but not too many real close. They love to goof off. They're notorious for messy.
That is what I got.
I was just thinking about somebody, I won't say who. Otters like to hurry and finish jobs, but the jobs are not often very well done. And then, yeah, they threw that in there, so I left it in there. Otter personalities can be like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. We all love Tigger. Okay, and the final one is the Golden Retriever.
It'll be great.
Golden Retriever, they're a little more laid back. I'm guessing even-keeled was probably under the Golden Retriever ones, is that right? They're good at making friends. They're very loyal. Retriever personalities do not like big changes. They look for security. They can be very sensitive and very caring. They may have deep relationships, but usually only a couple of close friends. They want to be loved by everyone. They look for appreciation. They work best in a limited situation with a steady work pattern. Okay. Now, how many of you in here would you say, and let's not all talk at once, do you say that you would say it's pretty accurate how this came out? This is kind of described here.
Yep.
Okay? Cool. At least they can step back and say, hey, you know what? That is his personality. Now, they still might get a little annoyed, but they might give him a little more grace, understanding that that's just who he is. His natural tendency is to be in charge. And he might, if he understands that, see, it was beaver? No. Otter, and then you were otter, and then you were the golden retriever, right? He might understand if people aren't doing things his way or not following his way, he might understand that their mentality on life is just to be a little more laid back and have more fun. So he might then have a little more grace for them instead of getting frustrated with them. It's important for us to know how we are and how we respond to situations and how other people do so we can treat them right. Understanding this is the way God made them. This person might be a little more laid back, but they're probably really caring and sensitive to other people. Where somebody like me, I might be a little more intense, or Anna, or Sally, we might be a little more intense. And sometimes we forget about thinking about other people, but God has gifted us so that we're bold and we like to take the lead on things. Some of us need a little push, and some of us push too much. We need to learn that balance. We need to understand each other. Okay? So hopefully some of that makes sense. A few things just to remember about personality before we wrap things out. First of all, there is no perfect personality. We all need each other to balance ourselves out. And I talked about that a little bit. Somebody might be a little too bold, a little too commanding, and there might be somebody that comes along and says, hey, you know what, have a little grace here. This person just needs a little more patience. Okay, there's no perfect personalities except yours, because God made you perfectly. We all have perfect personalities, okay? 2, you will never fully understand or be able to predict your personality. Sometimes you will find in life, you will just do some random things that you would have never thought you'd done before. Like, we found out that Anna was 13, right? In a lion, right?
Yeah.
But there may be some situation where she's like just so incredibly compassionate, even Sully will step back and be like, is that my sister? God can do amazing things to each one of us. So just because you found that you're an otter on here or whatever, doesn't mean that you'll never be able to step up and take the lead somewhere. So don't let these tests put you in a box. 3 of the 4 points I want to make here. You can never use your personality. And I want you to get this. You can never use your personality as an excuse to be lazy, rude, or not love and serve those God has brought into your life. Sometimes, those of us lions, although I don't know if I think I'm kind of a mix between a lion and a golden retriever. My job brings out the lion in me a lot. But sometimes, us lions, we're leading the way. We know what needs to be done. We're barking out orders, and some people aren't just keeping up. That does not give me an excuse. Well, I'm a lion. That's the way I do things, to be rude to the next person. It doesn't give Anna or Sully the excuse to shout out other orders at each other and get mad and rude when someone isn't keeping up. Or it doesn't give us, golden retrievers an excuse just to be lazy. Well, I don't want to help out. I don't want to do my chores or whatever because I'm just a golden retriever. See, it's right here, Mom and Dad. See, it's written right there. I'm a golden retriever. No excuse to be lazy or to have a messy room.
Messy room for otters.
Okay. We have to remember this. Okay, the fourth thing I want to say, it's actually a question. And this might sound kind of random, but I want to put this in here. Will you use your personality to serve God or money? I'm going to share this verse just before we go into worship here. Matthew 6:24 says, "No one can serve two masters. For you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." And over these past few weeks, over the next few months at Lyghthouse or however long you're here, you're going to find out how God has gifted you. You're going to find out some things that He's calling you to. And as you're sitting here, maybe your heart or your passions are going to be starting to be awakened for people that are hurting. Maybe people in other parts of the world, maybe people in your school. And the question will be, will you take these things that you found out about yourself, these personalities, these gifts you have, and will you use them to serve God with them? Or will you do like what most people do, and they only do with their gifts what works out for their best benefit? In life, they may pursue a career that makes more money instead of going to where God calls them to do. Or you may use your incredible personality at school to make a bunch of popular friends, instead of using that incredible personality to reach out to some of those that don't have very many friends. Will you serve God, or will you serve what benefits you more? Which in the example Jesus used here was money. And I know one thing too that comes up for us, there comes a point in life as we get to that, it's usually 16, 17, or 18. And all of a sudden, we're at the age where we can start to get a job and earn this thing called money. And there's a temptation, there's a moment in time, a decision that we have to make. Will I continue to make church, to make God, to make Wednesday nights, to make Sundays a priority, to continue to be fed spiritually? Or am I going to put my wants and desires to make more money? My job wants me to work on Wednesday nights. It's an extra night of the week. It's an extra 50 or 60 bucks. Will we serve God or money? We have to make that decision. You know what? Money isn't the most important thing. God is. He's the one who's gifted us. He's the one who's created us. We have to trust Him to provide for those things in life. I want you to do this tonight. I want you to thank God for who He's made you. For some, this might be the first time we've ever done this. For some, that may be a hard thing for you to do, to truly accept who you are and say, thank you, God, for who you made me. I want to challenge you tonight with that. Thank God for who you are. And then, if you can, some of you may not be able to get to this point tonight, and that's okay, because I believe when you're talking to God, the most important thing is always honesty. If you've been able to sincerely thank God for who you are, I want to challenge you tonight. You've maybe done this before, that's great. It's okay to do it again. I'm going to do it again. To lay yourself down before God and say, God, here I am. I am willing to be used by you however you want. You can have my whole life, these gifts, my personality, my heart, my abilities, all you've given me. You can do whatever you want with me and lay your life down before God. And when you've done that, I want to invite you, we'll have the bread and the juice over here. We've changed up how we do communion lately to make it more personal with you and God. When you've done that, when you're able to say, God, I'm yours, I lay it down for you, I want to invite you to come and have a personal time of communion. The bread represents Jesus' body. The juice represents the blood He shed for us, the sacrifice God gave for us. And He said to take that, remembering the promise that I gave you of eternal life. And you take that, dip the bread in the juice, and have a moment with God of just reminding the covenant He made with you and the promise of giving your life to Him. So why don't we get up?